Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. This is Lovable Shelly's BL Reactions, and of course, I am Shelly. I'm just gonna start off by saying I know it's gonna look like I am in the same shirt repeatedly for like several weeks in a row. What it is actually me doing is I am binge watching, as you can see on from my TV. I am binge watching Tharntype, and I am just mass recording my videos to have them all ready for when I want to upload them, when it's the days that I'm going to upload. Okay, so with that being said, now, in the last episode, towards the end, Tharn got into a little bit of trouble. But before we get into Tharntype episode 4, please remember to hit the like button, the subscribe button, and hit those notifications so you can be reminded of when I'm posting or when I post a new video. It will be Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays between 3 and 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, usually around 3. Okay? So, now with that being said, let's go. Let's get into it. Okay, so with this, it starts off with Techno, and he's just looking over everything that's happened, like all the comments and stuff that people are saying, because right now, Type is the most hated man on campus. So, and Techno gets really frustrated and really pissed off because Techno's trying to help him, and Type is saying no to everything. No to eating, no to going to class, no to this, no to that, because Type hasn't been to classes in about a week. So, and then Tharn comes in, and his main concern is Type. Like, he's worried. His true concern, and he's really worried about Type. His first thought, because of everything that's going on, he's like, are you okay? And of course, Type is like, oh, well, you must hate me. You must be on, like, you must hate me because I, like, insulted you. You're kind. But in actuality, Tharn is just really worried and wants to make sure that Type is okay. Now with that being said, let's go. And of course, Type asks Tharn, what side are you on? The side that hates me, or the side that uses me to diss homosexuals? And I actually feel, once again, I still feel really bad for Type because it wasn't all his fault. The two people from the previous video, from the previous episode and the previous video, they will be in this episode too, kind of started taking his picture really without his consent or his permission. He kind of like got forced into it. And then the other guy came up and was like touching him and all this, trying to get pictures with him. Once again, without Type's consent. I understand that he's a friend of Techno's and Techno doesn't really care about like sexuality or what you're into, and Techno is like, you can do whatever you like. It's Techno, like, he doesn't care. But I think this is a prime example of consent is key. If you don't have your permission to touch anyone, if you don't have your permission, the person's permission to take photos, don't do it. And I think that's where it all started from, and now Type is kind of getting cyberbullied for something that isn't entirely his fault. Like, if the people had approached him differently and like asked him like, hey, we're trying to take pictures for this, do you mind if we take pictures, of just you? Like, do you mind if we do that, instead of just kind of like forcing him? Because that's just going to throw everything back to what happened to him when he was a child, which in this episode, I'm going to say now, there will be a trigger warning in this episode, and I will let you know when it comes to that as well, because in this episode, Type does tell Tharn what happened to him. And I also love the fact that Techno is his best friend as far back like since high school. Team and are his friends since high school. They don't know what happened to him as a child. He opens up to Tharn and to only Tharn about what happened to him. So I think that is a way for us to really understand that he's opening himself up to, and his heart to Tharn when Type opens himself up like that and tells something to someone that he never told to anyone else before. So Tharn in this part really, I'm happy that Tharn said what he said, but at the same time, hearing the pain in Type's voice when he even asked the question kind of like breaks my heart. So Tharn grabs Type's arm and he says, "Is there anything I can do for you?" And Type's response is, "Can you make everyone on Earth straight?" And Tharn responds with, "No, because I will always like guys. Or I will always like men."
ทำได้ไหมล่ะทำไม่ได้เพราะกูไม่มีวันเลิกชอบผู้ชาย
He says he can't because I'll never stop liking men. Or shabushai is like men. Do you like men? You hear that phrase a lot in Thai BLs is shabushai. If I'm saying that right. If I'm not, I'm apologizing in advance. I'm so sorry. But you do hear that phrase a lot. So in this part, this brief little part that's here, Tharn is in class with his friend. Once again, I seriously want to grind him into dust. You will figure out what happened, why I'm saying that in a later episode, and then you will completely understand, if you have not seen this yet, why I want to literally grind his bones into dust. Not the actor, the character he plays. I'm just going to classify that out. But he's trying to tell Tharn, "Why don't you move out? Like, why are you still staying there?" And Tharn's like, "We only interact when we need to, and we don't fight." So, like, Tharn is basically trying to get his best friend to, like, shut the fuck up. Like, he's just trying to get his friend to just be like, "Dude, knock it off. Like, Jesus fucking Christ on a cracker, dude, just shut the fuck up." He doesn't want to talk about it. He doesn't want to bring it up. Like, leave him the fuck alone. He is dealing with Type in his own way. Like, drop it. So, in this part, Tharn comes back with food, and Type, like, has been in his room all day. He's been in his bed all day. He clearly hasn't eaten. And, Tharn is just basically half hugs him and is like, "I don't care if you hate that. I don't care if you hate gays. I don't care if you hate me. Like, please just eat. I'm begging you." Like, and then Tharn asks him, "What's wrong? Tell me what's wrong. What's on your mind? Like, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere." And that's when major fucking trigger warning, people. I don't have a flashing light, and I would never do that to people, so I'm just gonna flash my hands. But trigger warning, this is when Tharn and Type talk, and Type tells him what happened to him as a child. Even before we get into that trigger warning, I want to say that Tharn literally tells Type, "I know you have your reasons, it's not your fault." And Type's like, "Even though the whole university has deemed me guilty," and sorry, I'm trying to go back to this real quick to figure out what he says. Exactly. But the whole university has branded me guilty. That's what Type says. And Tharn says, "I don't care what people say. For me, you're innocent." And then, of course, Type's response is, "Even though I hate gays, even though I hate you." But the way he says, "Even though I hate you," the way he says it, it doesn't have as much power and fierceness and attitude as it had in the earlier episodes.
ใช่ถึงมึงจะเกลียดกูแต่ไทยมึงมีอะไรอ่ะมึงบอกกูได้นะเว้ยกูพร้อมจะฟังมึงเสมอนะเว้ย
So
ข้างมึงนะ
he literally says, I'm on your side. You can tell me what's on your mind. You can talk to me. You can tell me. And then this is, once again, this is where the massive trigger warning triggers come into play. Sorry about that, my lovely TikTok children called. But, so we're going to get into the story now.
ตอนกูอายุ10
Basically, when Type was 11, there was a roofer that worked at his father's hotel. So he saw him every day. He trusted him every day. You know, he trusted him. He told him, oh, I have a soccer field that we can go play soccer at. Or, you know, soccer for America, you know, football for other countries. But, like, he told him he could do that. So he went with him, and this guy punched him, tied Type to a chair, in this dirty building, and he basically molested Type. He started to take Type's clothes off and was groping him, and at that part of the story, Tharn grabs him and just hugs him, and he's like, don't say anymore, you don't have to say anymore, and like they're both crying together is what happens in that part of the story. And now, so that's the end of that. But now you have the roommates the guys next door. So the Thai gentleman who wants to be a K-pop artist and his roommate, and I can't even think of their names, and I'm so horrible. I can't say their names right, so I don't even want to attempt to. But the gentleman who wants to be a K-pop artist likes the roommate. If you can see what's going on, like he's listening at the wall. So that is what is going on. But yeah, so like the one with the half black, half blonde hair likes the one that's like trying to be a busybody and listen in on the wall. And listen in on what's going on with Tharntype. So basically what happens to their story, somebody got a hold of it where they posted it about Type and sent it to the school's message boards. So their professor calls them. Now the principal is getting involved, and the principal literally tells the two people, you have a week to apologize and fix this, or you're in trouble. Tharn basically explains to them that he likes Type, and that the reason Type was the way he was because Tharn came on way too strong, got touchy, got handsy. Like, Tharn is blaming the way Type is on himself. And he basically tells the two femme gays, if you want to blame somebody, blame me. It's my fault. Like, come at me, leave him alone. He's suffering enough, and I don't like to see the person I like suffer. So they decide to apologize. They take the thing down and they apologize to Type over like the Facebook internet thing. They apologize to him about what happened. Tharn basically asked him, for someone who like stands their ground and like does all this, why didn't you press charges against them? And Type explains that when I was 11, my father did what he did. The media found out, and they, like his whole town knew about it, and he didn't like that all the eyes were on him, and people were like, so basically Type made the front page. They called him a boy known as T. He got a lot of attention. Everybody was suddenly all over him because of an article on the front page. People found out what happened to him. He couldn't leave his house for months because he didn't want people to ask him, how are you?
น่าสงสารจัง
You poor boy.
โถถือว่าฟาดเคราะห์
Oh dear, it could have been worse. Like, but if it was those parents, kids, like, you know, like, so he couldn't leave his house for months because of it. So he doesn't like to really be the center of attention. And because of what happened with the other people posting that and him getting all that hate, he became the center of attention, which once again, he clearly has severe PTSD because of what happened. It threw him right back into, once again, what was going on in his life. So let's continue, shall we? At this point, now after Type explains all that, Tharn says, Type, there's something I have to tell you. And Type's like, what is it? And Tharn says, when I told him I like you, I mean it.
ฟังไม่ผิดหรอก
So, yeah. And then, of course, Techno being Techno now, it's the next day or whatever, and Type is sitting down and having food. Techno comes up, and he's like, is it true that Tharn really likes you? Type spits water in his face. Or his drink in his face, whatever it is. It's funny as hell, and, you know, you just see, you know, Techno do one of those. It's really funny. And, of course, Techno's like, poor Tharn, for falling in love with an asshole like you, like, Techno just gives him shit. And it is a really funny scene. And it's still one of the scenes that just cracks me up. So it's now nighttime. Tharn is on his bed studying. Type starts to ask, like, Type asks him a question, and Tharn's like, are you really going to give it to me? And of course, Tharn is like, I want to have sex with you. And then he goes, is that your death wish? Being Type. And Tharn goes, I'm just kidding. Your reaction is a lot funnier than I thought it would be. And then Tharn confesses to Type that he does want to sleep with him, but not right now. That, you know, if I like you, I'm going to do everything I can to get your attention. You know, as a guy, you should know what you want to do with somebody that you like. That situation happens. So it's now the next day. Type is, like, at a cafe, diner area, and he's trying to, like, study, and he can't. Like, he can't concentrate. He's like, all right, I know what I'm going to do. So he buys food for him and for Tharn, but Tharn had gotten drunk the night before. So he wakes Tharn up at like 10 o'clock, and Tharn asks him, well, why didn't you want me to go home? And the food is to about, like, in the spoon, the food is, like, to here, and Type literally goes, have sex with me. And that spoon just goes clink right out of Tharn's hand. And Tharn's like, what? And Type's like, have sex with me. And he goes, and Type's like, it's going to be one time only. I don't want to owe you any more favors. Like, I'm doing this not to owe you anything. And you're telling me to watch my back, and I don't want to have to continue to do that. And what happens if you ask me to, you know, return the favor at some other point? So I'm just going to do it now. It's going to be, literally, the sex is going to be a one-time thing. And he goes, just one time? And Type's like, yes, just once. And Tharn goes, so who's on top? And Type goes, you are. I'll just lay there. And Tharn's like, good. Because you should know, I'm always on top. So that happened in the morning, and it's nighttime. Tharn's basically made Type wait, like, all fucking day. And, Tharn's like, are you ready? And Type's like, yes, just, I've been ready all day. Like, let's just get this over with. Because Tharn comes to him with a cup that has some ice in it. And Tharn's like, is that what you did with all of your girlfriends? Like, you just went for it and you just went at it? Like, so I have a question for you, Tharn. Or for Mr. Type, sir. Hello? If you just went in and went for it and just went at it, are you sure your girls enjoyed it too? Sorry, I freaking had to. I had to. Because he just, like, let's just, you know, get it over with. Is what Type said. So then, Tharn's like, let me tell you something. It's not about, like, just, like, getting it over with. And it's about patience and stuff. And Tharn goes to kiss Type. And Type tells him no kissing. And Tharn's like, I won't have sex with anybody who won't kiss me. And Type goes, shit. So he kisses Tharn for like 2 seconds, and he goes, happy now? And Tharn goes, that's not enough, and kisses him again. And then he takes an ice cube and puts in his mouth and is continuing to kiss Type. They clearly have sex. They don't show it. What they show is like just Tharn like kissing Type around the neck. Type still has his shirt on this whole time. Tharn has his shirt off. Tharn like helps Type up and like has Type just run his hand down his chest. Tharn is literally just kissing here and like a little bit right here on Tharn or on Type's shirt and stuff. That's what Tharn is doing. And then it cuts to the cup, and you just see the cup. And then the next scene, it cuts to, after they've had sex, Tharn is like trying to clean up, and Tharn's like, are you gonna help me? Like, how do you feel? And Type's like, terrible. And Tharn, being Tharn, is like, no one's ever told me I think they're terrible. I've been told terrific. And Tharn's like, oh, for the record, he says, for the record, no one's been able to stop it just once with me. And then they get, which I think is really sweet as well, and what needs to be done, and more people do need to do this, is they do get tested for STIs or STDs. It all comes back clean for both of them. They do get tested for that. They have lunch with Techno, and Techno is starting to think that they're more than just sex buddies. And Tharn goes, oh, speaking of us being sex buddies, you want me to fulfill my duties tonight? And then it shows them having sex again. Note to self, do not ever go to eat with Techno, because he orders like everything on the menu. Like, he ordered so much food. Just heads up on that one. And then it ends with them like cuddling, and Tharn asking Type if on Saturday he wants to go bed sheet shopping. And that's how episode 4 ends. Thank you very much for watching. Once again, if you have any suggestions for other BLs that you would like me to watch, please just leave them in the comments below. As long as they're English subtitled, I will definitely be watching them. Once again, please hit the like, the subscribe button, and hit the notification bells. I'll be posting on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays between 3 and 5 Pacific Standard Time, probably around 3 o'clock. Once again, thank you guys for tuning into my channel. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Next episode will be Tharntype episode 5. I love you all very much. And peace.